Okay.
All right, we'll now call to order the meeting of the Improvement and Services Committee for May 14th, 2025. We'll start with a roll call. Alder DeLee.
I'm here.
Here and loud.
Yeah, and loud, yeah.
Alder Eck.
I'm here.
All right, and I am here. On to approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve made by Alder Eck,
Second.
second by Alder DeLee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
What do I hear, birds in the background? Are you at the beach?
I think he's at a softball game.
No, I'm at softball.
Okay. I thought I heard birds and like kids, so call them out.
All right, so that carries. On to approval of the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve made by Alder Eck,
Second.
second by Alder DeLee. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that carries. On to regular business. First, consideration with possible action on requests by Department of Public Works to spend $70,000 on CYVL transportation infrastructure mapping to complete required biannual ratings for 2025. Director.
Okay, we've provided to you in the packet a memo prepared by the Assistant Director of Public Works, Jim Burnett, that discusses the potential purchase of the civil transportation infrastructure mapping software. Every 2 years, in odd-numbered years, we are required to complete road ratings on all segments within the city using the Pavement Surface Evaluation Rating, or PASER system. PASER provides a numerical rating from 1 to 10, 1 being a road completely in disrepair, needing full reconstruction. It's essentially so bad that you lose your fillings or spill your coffee on that road. And 10 being a brand new street, never been driven on, not yet open to traffic. That PASER system was developed in Madison, I believe in 1987, through UW-Madison. And it's a subjective quality rating that talks about the various state of disrepair or distresses that are in there. So it could be anything from longitudinal cracking to blocking to potholes to patches to beneficial things like a new surface or resurface. Staff goes through some pretty exhaustive training to get familiar with what those ratings are. And then it takes 2 individuals, one driving and one doing the evaluations, to complete those road ratings every 2 years. There's about 560 hours, person hours, in completing that, and these are 2 of our senior technicians. So it's not like these 2 folks don't have other things to do. This 6 to 8 weeks that it takes us to complete our road ratings does cut into our productivity every other year. So there are companies who have started using the same technology that's used for LiDAR mapping. So it's essentially laser beams that shoot down and measure distress or measure distance above the street. This software also can pick up ancillary features like stop or signposts or hydrants or things that are within the beam of the laser. So it's shooting millions of times per second and picking up the data. One of the issues that we have is you may have a road segment that's 700 feet long, and there's defects in the middle of the street, but the rest of it is actually in pretty good shape. Well, where do you assign the numerical rating? On the good part, on the bad part? How do you synthesize the overall rating for the street? This software breaks streets up into 30-foot segments and independently rates those 30-foot segments, then automatically does an averaging over the entire length of the street when you tell it start and stop. In addition to that, the subjectivity of an individual rater goes away because it's a computer and it's following an algorithm, so it does things exactly the same every time. If we happen to have staff transition into other jobs or leave the city, we don't have to train new staff. $70,000 is a lot of money. That's not something that we've had in our budget. I've been a little hesitant about these. I wanted to make sure that, you know, this kind of software or this kind of an approach could be replicated and it was consistent with past rating practices. So Assistant Director Burnett worked with Civil. They came up and they did a 5-mile test for us this year. Surprisingly, the correlation between the computer-generated data and our manual data was very, very close. So Jim is very convinced that this software will be able to do what we do currently with people and get very consistent results with what we've done in the past. So because we didn't have this budgeted this year, what we're looking to do is I need to find the money to make this happen. So I appeared before the Finance Committee last night and we asked for a budget amendment at Finance. We have several positions that are in our table of organization that are currently unfilled. The salaries have already been accounted for in our budget, but they've not been spent. So what we asked for was a budget amendment to reallocate those salaries into consultant services so we could use money that we already have that's currently not being used for this, and then we'll have to figure that out for future years starting in 27 and 29. But again, we're pretty comfortable with how the software works. I've become a convert myself. I wasn't a big believer in it until I saw it. And once we were able to take a look at some of that data and see what it's doing, we like what it does. We may find the intent right now is really to get our PACER ratings done. And that 560 hours of staff effort will be reduced down to approximately 100 hours of staff effort. So that takes 460 hours, which is almost a quarter of a year. And gives those technicians those hours back to spend on other projects or other initiatives that we need to get done during the course of the year. So this isn't about saving money, okay? I don't often come to you and tell you it's a good idea to spend more money, okay? But in this case, I think it is, because we're more effectively using those people for other tasks that need to get done. And yeah, I understand it's $70,000, but having the computer able to do it, not having to worry about staff turnover result in changes to the rating, the ability to replicate those year to year and have a consistent algorithm that, and the other thing that's big for us is, again, as I had mentioned earlier, being able to take segments of streets that have some imperfections in some areas where the asphalt or the road is actually in good shape, and have a consistent, logical way of doing a synthesized overall average rating on that road that takes the subjectivity out of it, I think is critical in making sure that we have good data to plan our capital improvement program. So again, we're looking to use old money, and we've got conditional approval from the Finance Committee that'll be going forward to Council next week. And what I offered up to the committee last night was, last night's presentation in front of Finance was simply to get the budget amendment, not to discuss the merits of the project. That's your prerogative, that's why we're presenting here tonight. So with that, we'll open it up for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. So in the packet, it does show like a savings in salary, but you're saying overall you don't think it necessarily would be.
Well,
Correct.
What Jim was trying to show you there, that cost savings towards this line item would be that $23,000. Mm-hmm. We would only be spending $70,000 on doing road ratings as opposed to over 90, or closer, between 90 and 95. That $23,000 could then be applied towards other projects where we're not getting work done right now.
Mm-hmm. Right, I'm not like necessarily, I guess, saying in the end it would come off the budget, because I know there's
correct. This would not result in a budget reduction. As a matter of fact, in odd number year budgets, we're going to have to find, DPW is going to have to find a way to fund this if we want to move forward with it.
Because it's every other. Yeah, I like the idea of the whole, kind of taking the whole roadway and combining it and assessing that way.
And it does tie into the data management strategy that the city has adopted. So getting into a data-centric way of doing things, here we're going to have good data that's generated without bias in it, that'll help us to make additional decisions.
And would there be a way to get this so that it's electronic and be accessible for the general public to kind
I
of get
don't
an
know,
idea?
I don't know how much of the data is going to be digestible by the public.
Okay,
But if there are things like corroborating our GIS system where that GIS data would then be made public, sure. If there's opportunities for that, we would definitely make that available.
okay. I mean, I don't know about you, I get asked about roads a lot, so if you
Could we
can have a
take
place.
Can we take the LiDAR and then 3D print examples of our roads?
Yeah, the LiDAR is the best example that I can use. It's not storing a LiDAR data cloud.
Oh, got it.
So we don't actually get to 3D. What it's doing is it's taking these measurements and then instead of creating a 3D surface with it, it's identifying where there's defects and kind of keeping a running tally.
Oh, okay.
So LiDAR is the closest parallel I could draw, but it's not truly a LiDAR system.
The questions, Alder?
I don't have any more. Do we have, oh, he is on there. Okay.
Alder DeLee, any questions?
No, I don't have any questions.
And I would make a motion to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Alder Eck.
I will second that.
All right, I'm going to ask a quick question. Is this something that's being used in other municipalities? in the
Yes,
state?
there are a lot of jurisdictions who have moved to this.
Okay.
The mayor asked me to consider a similar type of initiative back in '23 when we did the last set of road ratings, and I was not there yet. I wasn't convinced. So knowing this was coming up in '25 and knowing that we've got some staff shortages, that's when Assistant Director Burnett decided to go out and take a look at some of these companies. So it's consistent with our data management strategy. It's something that the mayor has supported in the past, and it would help us with our staffing. And he said, okay, let's go out and do a trial run to see how it works. So that trial run and the data that it generated is one of the things that helps sway my opinion on it.
I have a follow-up then. Whenever.
Real quick, is there, so just to clarify, is 70,000 will cover this for this year and the following?
The road ratings are only done in odd numbered years.
Oh, okay, I see.
So they're on a 2-year cycle, so we do the ratings in odd numbered years and then we don't do them in even numbered years. So it'll cover the 2-year cycle we're required to do.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so they said 70,000, which can be divided into 2 equal installments.
Well, and-
we wouldn't do that then.
That's one of the things I've kind of been working with Jim on. It depends on where that funding comes, because if it's general fund funding, we can't roll that over year to year. So it's more of an average expense, but it winds up actually being an every other year expense that we got to plan for.
And then just another question about how it works. Is this, so they have all of the machinery and the
Correct.
technology, they come up, do it, give us the data?
Exactly.
Okay. Perfect. All right, Alder Eck, you had a follow-up
Yeah, just
question?
a follow-up, and I think I understood it, but just to clarify, so when you did the 5-mile test, did you have your staff do it? Then this came up and then compare, so that way there was no
Yes,
bias or anything?
Correct.
Okay, all right.
yes.
That's
We
what I
we did a
thought.
manual evaluation of the exact same segments that the car did, and then we compared it to the automated data collection.
Okay,
So, yeah, we had a head-to-head comparison on the exact same road segments.
okay, thank you. That's it?
All right, well, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Aye, and that carries.
Did we have a second?
We did, yes. I'll
Oh,
delete
okay.
second. All right. Next, consideration with possible action on request by Department of Public Works to execute a service order with Burner Schober Associates Incorporated in accordance with the previously executed master agreement for pre-design/study for the West Side Municipal Garage HVAC for $95,000.
Okay, we have an existing contract with Berner Schober Associates to do pre-design and study to take a look at the existing HVAC system at the West Side Garage, which is very old, beyond its service life. And as Berner Schober has, well, they've got a master agreement, and we have to execute individual amendments to that master agreement as projects come up. So we've approved that master agreement through the committee and council with prior action, so we now have this project for the HVAC system. This contract is $95,000, so we do not have that ability to execute anything at the staff level. We need to seek approval through committee and council. Again, the HVAC system over there is as close to original to the building as you can get, and is desperately in need of replacement. So having BSA do the evaluation and help us with the design so we can replace that is definitely in the city's best interest. So these funds were allocated through the CIP process, so we do have the funding in place already. We don't need to seek additional funds. We're just asking for permission to expand that which you've given us.
Any discussion?
You need HVAC, that's for sure, like in here. So, motion to approve.
All right, motion to approve by Alder Eck.
Second.
Second made by Alder DeLee. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye, that carries. All right, 3, consideration with possible action on request by Department of Public Works to award contract Parks 525 Light Memorial Park site grading at a staff level and report the award at the next Improvement and Services Committee meeting.
Okay, like we typically get at this time of the year, we start getting a little concerned with project bidding and the timelines as it relates to summer schedule and the ability to handle our meetings. As you are likely aware, because you're the park committee, as well as the Improvement Services Committee, we've been working, City Parks Department and on Broadway Incorporated have been working on design of the improvements at Light Memorial Park. This is primarily the grading contract, and what we'd like to do is get that grading contract bid out, but we are concerned with the timing of the bids, the receipt of bids, and getting the contract executed in a timely manner. So we're simply requesting the ability to execute that contract at a staff level and report that out at the next regularly scheduled meeting if that meets with your approval.
Any discussion?
Oh, I don't know. Stan, I don't
No,
know.
I'm just here for questions if you have any.
Okay.
Alder DeLee, any questions?
I do not have any questions.
All right, looking for a motion then.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve made by Alder Eck,
Second.
second by Alder DeLee. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that is approved. Excellent. All right.
Thank you.
4, consideration with possible action on request by Department of Public Works to approve the award of contract Sidewalks 2025 to Jim Fisher Incorporated in the amount of $928,475.
Okay, this is our annual sidewalk contract that's provided for in the capital improvement plan. 3 bids received. Jim Fisher was the low responsive bidder in the amount of $928,475, so staff does recommend award to that contractor. We have worked with Jim Fisher in the past, so we're very happy with the bids received.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve made by Alder Eck,
Second.
second by Alder DeLee. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right, that passes. 5, consideration with possible action on request by Department of Public Works to approve the award of contract resurfacing 125, including sewer and water, to Peters Concrete Company in the amount of $2,967,804.30.
Okay, we have our asphalt street resurfacing program each year. This year, we've broken it up into 2 contracts. First contract bid out earlier, closing, the bid date was April 22nd. For that contract, we received 6 bids. Low responsible bidder was Peters Concrete in the amount of $2,967,804.30. High bidder was PTS Contractors in the amount of $3,995,000 even. So there's a pretty big spread in the bids. Again, these costs are spread out and allocated. Part of that contract is Green Bay Water Utility funded work, part of it is funded by the storm sewer utility, part is funded by the sanitary sewer utility, and the balance of that work is funded through the levy supported borrowing for pavements out of DPW. So staff was happy with both the number of bids and the bid numbers we received back, and we do recommend award as suggested in the bid, or in the item.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve made by Alder Eck,
Second.
second by Alder Deli. Any discussion? All right, all in favor say aye.
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 I get to be the big spender again tonight, don't I?
Well,
Although
you
Mary
could-
would say that, so that's why I'm like, just to get it out there, I'm like doing the motions.
You could have spent $1 million more if we didn't have all those bids, so
Yeah, that is true.
that's good. All right, let's see.
Six.
Six, consideration with possible action on request by Department of Public Works to approve the award of contract resurfacing 225, including sewer and water, to Josart Brothers Incorporated in the amount of $4,905,798.
Okay, this is the second half of our street resurfacing program. This was led a few weeks after the first. The first was, bids were received on 4/22. These ones were received on 5/6, last Tuesday. We were a little concerned, being into May, with where those numbers might come out. But we still were able to get 4 good contracts, 4 contractors to submit bids. Low responsible bid was Jossart Brothers, $4,910,598. And the high bid was Vinton Construction Company at $5,292,834.18. You can see the gap between the high and low bids had shrunk way down. Not surprising. Many contractors have work under contract already. So what we're hoping to do is catch some folks bidding on this who maybe didn't win an earlier contract and are looking to fill their schedules, and that's kind of what we found here. Again, prices, even in May, were very, very good. We're happy with it. The money is available under the respective funds in the capital improvement program, so we are recommending award.
Looking for a motion. Alder Deli, do you want to make this motion just to save Alder Eck?
All motion to approve.
All right, motion made by Alder Deli,
Second.
second by Alder Eck. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All
It's weird
right.
that Peters didn't because they won the other one, and then they didn't even give a bid for the second one.
Correct, they didn't even bid on the second one.
All right. 7, consideration with possible action on request by Department of Public Works to approve the award of contract Parks 325 Bay Beach Pavilion mechanical upgrades to Millbach Construction Services Co. in the amount of $717,724.
Okay, this project is for the mechanical upgrades out at the Bay Beach Pavilion. It's kind of specialized work, so the fact that we only got two bidders is not surprising. However, the 2 bidders we have, Millbrook Construction Services and IEI General Contractors, are contractors that we have worked with on similar projects in the past. So we were happy to get bids from those 2. Have reviewed these bids with the Parks Department. They have agreed that the funding is in place to complete the work, and they have made a recommendation to award as stated.
Just a question.
Sure.
Thank you, Chair. I remember there was an issue, this is obviously different, it's a mechanical, but I know we were having a hard time getting bids on like the roof and things like that, right?
Correct.
But then we've gotten that. Forgive me if I don't remember, because we have so many things.
I don't know offhand.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm just excited to get this project done, because that'll be really huge for Bay Beach. So, motion to approve.
Motion made by Alder Eck to approve.
Second.
Second by Alder Deli. All in favor say aye.
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 All right, that carries. 8, consideration with possible action on request by Department of Public Works to approve the award of contract WSG 225 Laurel Lane Trench Drain Reconstruction to Martel Construction in the amount of $48,888.15.
So inside of our garages, both east and west, to provide floor drains in the garage, there is a long trench drain. So it's maybe 4 inches wide, but it runs the entire length of the garage. Oftentimes you will see them right near the garage door. And that picks up anything that's falling off of the truck. So snow melt in the winter, rain or precipitation that happens to be on the truck body when we bring it inside at the end of the workday, things of that nature. So those drains are critical to make sure that we're getting any of that runoff from the vehicles directed into a sanitary sewer, that it doesn't wind up in a stormwater inlet or something like that, and to maintain clean and sanitary facilities within the garages. These things, because it's typically a metal drain that's cast into the concrete, and you're taking snow melt and things that have been diluted with salt or things like that, okay? It's not a very nice environment, as you might imagine. So the trench drains do have a finite life to them. They do rust and wear out, and we've got some issues over here. In addition to the drain itself, the concrete immediately adjacent to the drain, you get a higher concentration of, especially a salt-laden liquid, and it causes spalling or peeling back or chipping of that concrete, and that creates a problem where now the trench drain also can rust, or water could get between the concrete and the trench drain, get under the floor, and cause worse problem. So we've got some issues over here at the west side garage where we've got some spalling and failed concrete near the drain, so we want to go in there and have that cut out, repaired, and put back in good service. So that's what the project is. This is going to do some concrete repair the actual drains in the floor with some heavier duty drains that have a longer life cycle to them. So hopefully they'll last a lot longer than what we have. Again, more a concrete contractor, but a little bit specialized. And we did get 2 bids on it. We were kind of shocked, the spread between the bids. But Martel Construction here, local Green Bay firm, done a lot of concrete work for us over the years. For years, they had our pavement repair and sidewalk contracts. So we know that Martel knows what they're doing, and they know what they're up against. We don't think they missed something in the bid. Quite the opposite. We think Freedom may have grossly overestimated the amount of effort going into it. So again, we do have this funding available to us through the Capital Improvement Program for 2025, and the bid was within the amount we had set aside for the project, so staff recommends award.
Any discussion on that?
No, just, thank you,
Chair
Chair.
recognizes Alder Eck.
Okay, thank you. It just in the description, it doesn't say that it's for the garage. I just, because, it says Laurel Lane Trench Drain Reconstruction.
Oh, okay. Laurel Lane, that's just colloquially what we refer to the garage where our sanitation trucks are parked. So you might be familiar with the main west side garage that's on Oneida Street.
Mm-hmm.
Opposite side of Oneida, there's a gravel parking lot there opposite the west side garage. But if you come out of the back where the salt shed is and where the mechanics bays are, there's a street that heads off to the west, 1 block off of Mason. That's Laurel Lane.
Okay.
And there's a garage back off of that fronts Laurel Lane. That's where our sanitation vehicles, all the garbage trucks and recycling trucks park. And it's the trench drain in the Laurel Lane facility. So
Okay. I thought it was like a.
no, I'm glad
residential
you asked,
center.
because
Okay.
we tend to forget. We speak about these things because this is where we live. It's what we do every day. So
Yeah.
Laurel Lane means something to me, and it may not mean something to you. So
Yeah.
no, I'm glad you asked the question to get the interpretation or get some clarification on it.
further discussion?
Motion to approve?
Motion to approve made by Alder Eck. Looking for a second.
Oh, looks like somehow Alder DeLee got disconnected.
Oh,
There, he's back.
Hello, Alder DeLee, can you hear us?
looks like he's on there twice, doesn't it?
Yeah,
I'm back.
Okay, there we go.
We're on 8. Did you catch that? Were you still there for that? Or do you have any questions?
I caught the whole thing and I was very concerned when Linda was asking where, Alder Act was asking where Laura Lane was. So, is there a motion to approve on the floor right now?
There is, yes.
I will second that.
All right, second made by Alder DeLee. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All right.
do you need some additional explanation about why Laura Lane?
No, I know Laura Lane because I deal with Franklin School, so I know right where that shop is.
Okay, so yeah, it's for the garage that holds the sanitation vehicles that fronts Laura Lane, as opposed to
Yep.
the west side garage itself.
Yep.
Okay, very good.
If one of us was going to know, it would be Alder DeLee.
He's over in that area.
All right, 9, report of actions taken by the Department of Public Works. A, granting of licenses. 1, sidewalk builder. A, AccuCut Concrete. B, N&L Concrete LLC. C, Quality Asphalt of Green Bay LLC. D, Summers Construction Company Incorporated. E, Three Corners Concrete LLC. And F, Zenture Solutions LLC.
So motion to receive and place on file.
Correct.
Motion made to receive and place on file. Do we have a
I will
second?
second.
Second by Alder DeLee. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that carries. All
This
right.
is our last meeting.
Well, director's report. Yes, I have 3 things for you tonight. First is, we are currently in our final round of spring yard waste collection. We started back at the beginning of April. We suspended for 1 week during the NFL draft, but we are finishing up this week, so material had to be to the curb by Monday of this week. We'll continue through this week to pick those piles up, but honestly, driving around the city, I don't see a whole lot out there right now. We got most of it in April. There has been some hubbub recently. Back in January, the Sustainability Commission made a recommendation to no longer continue the No Mow May. Apparently that word didn't get out to everybody, and folks are starting to put their No Mow May signs out, and we're contacting those folks saying No Mow May doesn't exist in Green Bay anymore. I did an interview with Channel 5 today to explain that decision, and it's not that we've given up on it, it's simply that we're adapting that program to be a more holistic and all-encompassing approach to providing early season habitat for pollinating species. The No Mow May was a good first effort to get people aware of the problem, but it's not a good long-term solution. So the Sustainability Commission is working on a long-term solution to help develop that habitat, so to replace people just not mowing the grass and getting dandelions to grow. And that was part of the problem, is what we were finding was a lot of folks were just not mowing the grass, but they were still having pesticide or herbicide treatments, and they weren't developing the pollinator habitat either. And it was creating a lot of busy work for staff. The juice wasn't worth the squeeze on that. Did want to let you know that in the anticipation of Alder Weary's retirement from the board, from the Common Council, I did have a conversation with the law department because the succession is not well defined or defined at all under ordinance. So it was my presumption that the vice chair automatically assumed the chair's position, and law department has told me that that is indeed not the case. So what they have recommended, and I just want to get this in front of you so that you are ready to go, The vice chair becomes acting chair until such time that a fourth member of this committee is appointed, and at that time, you go through the election process again. I don't expect anything to change, to be honest with you. I expect Alder Presley to continue on as chair, but you do need to follow that election protocol.
We have to pick a vice chair.
Oh, yeah.
Right, when the next, when a replacement for Alder Weary's position is confirmed. So that'll be something to look forward to later on this summer.
I'm hoping we can draw it out for a couple months like we did.
That is entirely your choice.
Shake a dice, quarter,
Yeah.
flip a quarter.
Then the last thing that I have under director's report is something that Alder Eck had alluded to. This is my last Improvement and Service Committee after 17 plus years with the city and 12 and a half years as the director. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to express a very heartfelt thanks to all of you for serving as our Improvement Service Committee. We're kind of hidden. We don't get a lot of attention. But the work that you folks do in helping us complete our mission is vital to making sure that this community continues to tick, because we're not noticed until we're not there. And if something goes bad with what we're doing, then everybody notices. So if we get flooding, if we get sewer backups, if we get potholes, if we get roads that aren't plowed, then people notice it in a hurry. So making sure that we have the ability to do what we do and having that support from you as a committee has been vital for us. And just on a personal note, I've very much enjoyed working with each and every one of you. I don't know what I'm going to miss about the job, but the interaction with you as my alders, as a team that I work with, is one of the things I am going to miss. So I just want to express my heartfelt thanks to each and every one of you and let you know that I'm going to miss working with you.
I miss working with you too. Thank you for your service to the city, and really, I mean, it has been an educational experience for me,
Well,
and I think for all of us.
I'm glad to hear that, because that's one of the things that, I know we have a job to do, but one of the functions that I've prided our department on is the fact that we are educational. That's we get folks who have been issued citations or fee for service or things like that. And I get quite a few of those folks who send letters or emails or what have you to contest or ask for leniency on those. And one of the things, the operations director, Chris Pirlot, has put into my head over the years is we're not here to be punitive, we are here to be educational. And I've taken that very seriously. I have been one of the department heads who over the past 10 or so years has gone out of their way to make sure that, especially with incoming alders, that if you have questions and you simply don't know where to go, just give me a call. I may not have the answer, but I'll know where to send you. So the educational component, being one of the old people here at City Hall, is one of the things I take pretty seriously. So I'm glad that it's helped you.
It really, really has.
Yeah, well, thank you, yes, for sure. And I would echo what Alder Presley said, that educational, like I joke that I know more about stormwater management than I ever thought I would in my lifetime.
Me too.
Actually, I was reading my gardening book today, and it was talking about stormwater management and rain gardens and stuff like that, and I'm like, hey, I've learned all this.
Right.
I know what it is. Yeah. Yeah, so thank you for your service.
Oh,
You know,
you're
I know
welcome.
we
I've been-
Still have our council, but,
Right.
yeah, so, appreciate it, I'm sorry.
So
Yeah.
this is my last director's report.
I have to say, Director, coming on the city council and getting on INS and listening to how many hats your department puts in the ring is unbelievable. And you do it so fluently, and it's been a pleasure working with you. And you will be missed because you do a great job at it.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
So, thank you.
Yes.
My
For
first
sure.
interaction with you was at our 12-hour recount.
Yes.
So everything
Oh.
since then has been fun.
It's gone uphill from there, you couldn't go
Missed that
downhill from that. Well, maybe you could, but that was fun. Well,
that-
actually, Steve said he wasn't having fun.
I'm still debating. I may, Tuesday night, I may make a reference to my first day as director that will be enough to curl your hair. I have probably the worst first day on the job story that you will ever hear.
I hope you. I'm looking
Now,
forward to it.
be ready for your hair, what'd you say, hair to curl?
To curl, yes.
Well, yeah, well, thank you for all your service.
Thank
and
you.
Appreciate it, really.
Oh, we should receive that.
Motion to receive and place on file the director's report.
Okay. Motion made by Alder
I'll
Eck,
second that.
second by Alder Delis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. That is received and placed on file. Next Improvement and Services Committee meeting is scheduled for June 4th, 2025. As always, all of the votes we had today are recommendations to the Common Council. Will be voted on at the meeting on the 20th, next Tuesday. All right.
For all those in the peanut gallery,
Yes.
remember, next Tuesday. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn made
I'll
by
second.
second by Alder Delis. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we are adjourned.
Thank you all.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.